Hi all, my name is Connor and welcome to Security Radio. First of all, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Modern day sheepdog. How to become one yourself. Preface. In life, there exists an unequal ratio of sheep to sheepdogs. If you stand up for others, lead people, know how to defend yourself, and generally are a protector, you might be a sheepdog. If you struggle with any of these, you could be a sheep. Wolves, on the other hand, prey on sheep for various reasons. Some examples of wolves could be terrorists or career criminals. Not surprisingly, sheepdogs are more prepared for violence, but shockingly, more remain unprepared. Sheepdogs protect sheep from wolves, but sheep don't like sheepdogs because they look like wolves. Regardless of which path has led you here, this guide will teach you what it takes to become a sheepdog in today's world. Let's start off with addressing our issues. First and foremost, safety should be our number one concern. At all times while practicing self-defense tactics at the gym or at home, no trainee should sustain any lasting physical or mental impact. This leaves an optimal training window that keeps trainees safe and promotes realism. When face to face with a possible assailant, if you default to having a sheepdog mindset, you will significantly increase your chances of getting away safely and alive. In his audiobook, Can I See Your Hands?, Dr. Gav Schneider presents a realistic and pragmatic approach to resilience, expert decision-making, risk management, security, and leveraging your odds of winning a street confrontation. You hold in your hands a goldmine of pertinent information skillfully building upon the previous grades surrounding these subjects. Threats continue to evolve and spread. The FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, reports that active shooters incidents more than doubled from 2006 to 2010. Terrorists are usually not interested in negotiations but aim for body count. In other words, they desire to cause the most harm possible. This information is specially designed to inspire the sheepdogs within us. I have such gratitude to be able to address you and so many others in this writing. I am currently a beginning security officer and brush up on these skills every day. I hope they will never come to use, but of course if they did, I would without a doubt rely on my inner sheepdog. SOPs, Standard Operating Procedures and Situational Awareness. These skills should follow you wherever you go. Think of them like your responsibility for safety and security. Threats are ever evolving and growing. The aim is to make yourself an unattractive or hard target. We're indoctrinated that crime and terrorism never happen, and if they do, they won't happen again. The mindset that it can't happen is misleading. The premise is this could happen to you. Look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Safety and security are the bottom two rungs. Realistically, we should be able to manage and thrive in these levels. This guide will build a base of knowledge and understanding to expand skill sets and tools to make observations and create situational awareness. It will help you navigate stressful situations, eliminate cognitive biases and shortcuts, and let you bounce back with resilience. My intent is to provide you with sheepdog characteristics, or inner protective capabilities. Becoming a sheepdog is somewhat of a radical transition. Sure, hands-on self-defense and martial arts training can help you be prepared, but first you need building blocks or mental models to aid your endeavors. It is a balance of safety and awareness. There's not much use in being completely paranoid or unaware. However, an equilibrium of safety and being aware is important. These methods have been proven to give personal security awareness and self-defense tools to thousands of people, from law enforcement personnel, soldiers, security specialists, protecting presidents, celebrities, and high net worth individuals. What is fear? In itself, fear has for eons kept our ancestors safe via fight or flight response. The harsh reality is, bad things can happen to good people. A proactive approach and having a plan can reduce the chance of being hurt or worse in a negative event by 90%. People are ignorant, negligent, or denying of all the negative and bad things that can happen because it's uncomfortable and requires touching on the worst parts of human behavior and psychology. So an anecdote about fear. I was about 1 month into my first security officer job. I was in Eugene, Oregon, pretty far from where I live. In my post orders, I was instructed to BOLO, be on the lookout for dumpster divers and carjackers. About halfway through my shift, I came around the corner on a bike patrol and saw a white sedan with no license plates blocking my car in its parking spot. He was dumpster diving. I asked him to desist several times, telling him it is private property. He ignored me, and that concerned me, especially with no safe access to my car. I may have been a little frightened, too. I called the non-emergency police line and filed a report. About a week later, I found the same gentleman helping himself to the cans and bottles in the trash cans at a neighboring property I was stationed at for fire watch. This time I just took a picture and made a security report while he asked me for a job with my company. I let him know he may want to consider not trespassing first. To understand situational awareness, we must know what happens to our body in a fight or flight response. Did you know that a normal heart rate is anywhere from 60 to 80 beats per minute? Whereas after an adrenaline dump or a fight or flight sympathetic nervous system response, heart rate can be anywhere from 180 to 200 beats per minute. It might behoove you to aim for a heart rate around 100 to 145 beats per minute, a healthy balance that gives you the best situational awareness. ARM, adrenal response modulation, tools help understanding and managing your, others, and attackers' adrenal response to figure out an appropriate or most correct solution. Here they are. 1. Repetitive, realistic, and effective training and experience. 2. Visualization and mental role play. 3. Breathing and stress management. 4. Physical health and conditioning. The last bit that will go into situational awareness and standard operating procedures is verbal de-escalation, or verbal judo. Here are some ways to verbally de-escalate situations. Withdraw from the situation, pay attention to feelings, allow silence, clarify or repeat messages, develop a plan, use positive self-talk. I can handle this and I know what to do. I'm trained, I know what to do. Recognize personal limits. Debrief at the end to assess what could have been done better and for next time. Ask disengaging and open-ended questions. Have a non-threatening posture. Use effective communication. Maintain safe distance. Show empathy. Get them to say yes or okay. Do you think you'll feel better if I'm here? Build rapport. Get their name. And active listening. Pretty much you want to have a positive impact on the situation through command presence. If it's a fun or serious situation, act appropriately. More powerful than a standing army is the well-wrought word. Napoleon. The OODA loop, a military mental model. The OODA loop was developed by the late Colonel John Boyd, who was a military strategist, Air Force fighter pilot, and Pentagon consultant. The OODA loop, observe, orient, decide, and act, is a four-tiered system to inculcate effective decision-making in dangerous or stressful circumstances. It is about collecting relevant information, recognizing potential biases, deciding, and acting, and repeating the process with new information. This is a type of military mental model which have far-reaching applications beyond their initial context due to extensive time and resources going into it and given the nature of conflict. It is important to remember the loop part because this model is meant to be repeated until the conflict is resolved, making a feedback loop. Let's break down the four components of the OODA loop. Observe. Through observations, convert information to paint a broad picture with principal meaning that puts it in context. Filter irrelevant information and noise to use only the most pertinent information to shape your decision. Learn to observe your environment. For a fighter pilot, that may include weather patterns and enemy movements. Consider the role of an emergency room doctor. To treat the patient, they must decide which information to collect, then collect it. They might take vital signs, ask the patient questions, ask admission staff, look at their medical records, and more. Sometimes the absence, as opposed to presence of a cue, is important too. Simultaneously, the doctor needs to put it all together while ignoring irrelevant information prior to treating the patient. Orient. Boyd notes to orient yourself is the least intuitive of the OODA loop, however it is something that happens constantly for everyone. There is an advantage to orienting yourself instead of jumping into a decision. He advised a process of deductive destruction, or giving attention to one's own assumptions and biases, then finding fundamental mental models to replace them with. This could mean being non-judgmental, taking on the samurai mindset of Mushin, which most closely translated means still the center, or disinterested. This is not to be confused with uninterested. Identified by Boyd are four main obstacles to our view of objective information. A. Our cultural traditions. We do not know how much of what we classify as universal behavior is actually culturally prescribed. B. Our genetic heritage. Everyone has certain constraints. C. Our ability to analyze and synthesize. If we have not practiced and elaborated our thinking skills, we tend to revert to old habits. D. The influx of new information. Situations can be very dynamic, making observations confusing. Orientation means connecting yourself with reality and seeing the world as it really is, as free as possible from influence of cognitive biases and shortcuts. Decide. It won't come as a surprise that you already have laid the groundwork to make a decision with observation and orientation phase. If multiple options are available, use the previous two steps to decide. Cautioning against first conclusion bias, Boyd notes that this is the hypothesis stage and reiterates that we cannot make the same decision, or even worse, a mistake, repetitively. Deciding must be open and flexible to Bayesian updating. Act. Making a decision and enacting one is quite different. As soon as you know what decision is right and safest, take action. RHFC model. Anytime, anywhere. Run. Where? Hide. Concealing, bulletproof. What's effective? Fight. Be prepared. Do as much possible beforehand. And communicate. Get to a safe place and call 911. Worst case scenario signs. Action imminent. Are they moving forward or pushing you back? Are they pushing your hands away? Are they making physical contact? If yes, take action. Run, hide, fight. You can say, I will have you arrested for assault and battery. Aftermath and trauma care. Safety is the primary and overarching consideration, especially when dealing with street confrontations. Deep breathing, stress management, and directing risk BDA before, during, and after will encourage your personal safety mindset. Be aware of the bystander effect. Keep in mind that worst case scenario it's double reporting, which in the big scheme of things is not important. Truthfully, authorities would prefer over-reporting rather than under-reporting. Inner sheepdogs use their eyes and ears to pass on information to appropriate people. It is prudent to determine that there are no secondary or additional threats. You may be calming people down, administering first aid, keeping pressure on wounds, or giving CPR. Stay situationally aware for your most effective response. If flustered or confused, staying calm and seeking legal counsel could be the best option before talking with authorities. Stick to the facts with your descriptions. Remember, jackets, shirts, and hats can easily be switched. Identify tattoos, shoes, jewelry, height, weight, age, and gender. In the long-term aftermath, sustained adrenal response can make you distant, over-emotional, or nervous. You may encounter stress, recurring visualization or dreams, flashbacks, negative beliefs, sleeping problems, hypervigilance, and/or reckless or self-destructive behavior. This is normal given the abnormal situation you've survived. Scars are evidence of healing. You survived. No one can take this away from you. As with any mental trauma, especially with signs and symptoms lasting greater than 1 month, seek professional and reputable help if indicated after being victim to a criminal or terrorist act to restore your locus of control. How much is it? Do they have experience in trauma? Make sure to talk to people and include intensive self-introspection and taking care of yourself. Men can feel inadequate if defeated in a physical interaction or let the assailant walk away. There can be black dog trauma that haunts us for a time. Stress, trauma management, or ongoing risk management and intelligence will provide for a healthier and safer life. Give yourself a break. Get enough sleep. Stay hydrated. Regular human interaction. Social circle. Digital detox often. And mindfulness. Feel free to change, adjust, or modify any content as needed or appropriately. Conclusion. Finally, I would like to thank everyone who made this guide possible, God, my family, friends, and awesome coworkers. Words cannot express how much I appreciate your advice, support, and overwhelming love. Thank you.